What happened? All right. How's it going, my comic chat army? We're here today with Thomas Ryan, the creator of The Average Joe. How you doing, Thomas?
Going on, man? What is going on?
We're having a rainy day here in Florida.
Ah, man, it's raining on y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of
Y'all might
chilly.
hear it.
Connecticut.
What happened?
Nah, I said it's kind of chilly out here in Connecticut right now. Weather's starting to go down.
Yeah, I missed the snow and the weather. We was talking about that in a earlier interview I did with someone else.
Oh, really? Yeah, you can have it because these Connecticut winters are ridiculous. I'm tired.
Right? I mean, y'all get like 3 and 4 feet of snow, don't y'all?
Yeah, man. Sometimes more. Depending.
It's crazy. It's a good time to sit down and make a comic book, right?
Oh yeah, man. That's the name of the game for me.
All right, so tell us the inspiration behind the average Joe.
Average Joe, man. That's probably like my uh, fourth or fifth, like one of the first fourth, maybe the fourth or fifth book that I've written. I think I wrote that book about 3 or 4 years ago. I started the series. I put out 1 and 2 recently, but Average Joe, man. Where do I begin? So Average Joe, pretty much, it follows a guy named Max. Pretty much about an average guy living in a superhero society. He runs into the number one guy in the city, General Justice, and he finds out that the superheroes aren't as glorious as everybody makes them out to be. So he decides to take the superhero work into his own hands, even though he's like kind of an average guy in the world. So I mean, the premise of the story, the premise of the entire series is that uh, anybody can be a hero when somebody's in need. We depend on law enforcement, maybe army, military, but in that moment when somebody needs you the most, anybody can be a hero. It doesn't matter about strength. It don't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter about none of that. So that's kind of the premise of the series. So each book in the series, even though it's about superheroes, the focus is on what the average guy does to make right at the end of the day. So
All right, are we gonna follow him through all of the books?
yes, he's gonna be in all of the books, but I bring in other elements of like average, I guess citizens of the town. So like I have another kind of spinoff, 2.5. So it's Average Joe 2.5 that follows a detective now that we meet in Average Joe number 1, and the detective goes off and he has his own side story where he's dealing with some stuff that's going on in the series. So, but yeah, goes throughout the whole series.
All right, and how many issues do you have planned right now?
I wrote 10. Uh, I wrote 12 actually. I may go beyond that, but it's really I wrote this story arc from 1 to 12 to like
Mhm.
kind of like have a 12 finale. But there's so many spin-offs, so many characters that we could spin off, and so many other stories I could tell that it could go on forever if I really wanted it to.
All right, and where can people pick the books up right now?
Well, I just finished the Kickstarter for it, so you could get them physically because I just got them printed at over at Comic Impression. So you get them physically through my website. So I have a website. It's www.vivpanel.com, where you can get that. You can get the Average Joe number 1, Average Joe number 2. You can also get I have like T-shirts and things like that on the website as well. So
All right, cool. Do you offer like signed copies?
yeah, I did it exclusively for some of the Kickstarter backers, but I might implement that to my website really soon. I haven't
Oh,
implemented that just yet though.
all right, and tell us about some of your early books. Are those available on the website also?
My earlier books are not. I've been writing since I was like 11 years old. So I have like binders and libraries of like stories and books that I've been writing since I was a kid. Average Joe is just kind of one of the ones that I was like, yeah, I really want to show people this one because I really feel the story.
Mhm.
Um, but I got tons of other stories and other books and series. Writing is it got me through a lot in my life. Writing is what I do. I write when I'm happy. I write when I'm inspired. I write when I'm down. I write. It's just what I do. And these stories pretty much stem from a lot of that stuff in my life.
Hmm, that's awesome. Um, let's see. I forgot. I drew a blank. um, You're not with a publisher, are you?
No,
Or all right.
self-published.
And who do you have a team working with you?
Yeah. Uh, Pretty much. I have an artist, by the name. He goes by TN Uncaged. He's over in Vietnam. He did all the line work for Average Joe #1. He did all the colors for Average Joe #1. I have a letterer that I work with, whose name is Matthias Zanetti, and he lettered Average Joe #1. He lettered Average Joe #2, and he lettered Average Joe number 2.5. I got one more colorist that I worked with Average Joe #2, and his name is Omi Relmonte, and he lettered that up for me. I mean, sorry, he colored that for me, and he colored Average Joe number 2.5. And number 2.5, man, like it's just it got taken up to another level with that one. So yeah, those are the guys I've been working with.
Oh, sweet. I know you said you're gonna do a whole like Marvel MCU universe, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, yeah. I guess it's easier to say Marvel universe because Marvel
Right.
did it.
That's true. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, like I have a whole stable of characters, so yeah, I guess you could say yeah, it'll be like a universe. But yeah, I'm from the school of thought where I don't really want to drag the story on for longer than I would really like to. I like to tell stories from beginning to end. That's just my thing.
Right.
Some people say, well, I'll write as many as people will pay for, but my heart has to be into it for me to write something, and I wouldn't even be I wouldn't feel right giving people something to pay for that I wrote that my heart wasn't really into. So if it stops becoming fun and I'm not into it, I don't want to continue doing it.
All right. Is Max gonna cross over in any other spin-off series?
Yep,
Or
yep,
okay.
definitely will. Yeah.
All right. And oh, sorry. Who is your inspiration to write? Do you have an inspirator?
Um, I have some inspiration. Like Stephen King is one of the inspirations that I have. Simply, well, his theories behind writing is something that I really found interesting because when I first started writing, very young, I think I watched a interview or something with him in it, and they were asking him about like his process. And the thing that stuck with me was that he said, writing is simple. It's always about what happens next. Like
Mm.
that's it. And then as soon as he said that, I'm like, bro, like I never got stuck writing again. I never had writer's block ever again. It's literally what happens next. It was like one of the most simple things, and it's something that stuck with me uh, throughout my life. Jordan Peele as a writer director. I find him as amazing too from with the work that he's coming out with, especially the comedic stuff, and not to mention the movies and stuff. So those are two of my major inspirations.
All right. And do you currently read any other indie titles?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely read some stuff from this group called Concrete Comics. They have like this book, Absolver, which I thought was really good. It's by some dude named Jamel Lessie. Um, Anthony Moore, he has Muffin Man and Solo 88, which are great titles. I like those. Um, and what's his name? I can't remember. Sal Piazza with the Protectors. Those are great titles as well. So those are the two that I've been engaged in more recently.
All right. And did you kickstart both books or just one?
I kickstarted both of them. See, the story behind that is that because Average Joe was supposed to be a 28-page book,
Hmm.
but I was putting too much on the colorist 10 for the
Right.
timeline. I was just throwing too much on them, so that's when I found Omi. So their two coloring styles were so different that I had to kind of like split the book in between when they started coloring. So Average Joe #1 and Average Joe #2 is technically one book, but I just split it to part one, part two. But I put them together. They're like 20 pages each at the end of the day. So I had to split those up.
All right. What would you say the do's and don'ts of a Kickstarter would be?
The do's is definitely prepare yourself for a Kickstarter. So when you prepare yourself for a Kickstarter, I mean having an audience and building an audience around your product is so important. It's so very important because you can't go on Kickstarter and just put out a number and say I want to make $5,000 and people are going to give me $5,000. It's more like you set yourself up for success. You say, I have this many people, I can probably make this much money, fund this much of the book with this many people. I can do this much with the amount of people I have on my platform right now, and then set your funding goal based on that. Don't click prepare for launch. Don't click that, because if you click that, it'll actually start your campaign. I've heard a ton of people making that mistake. They're not ready to launch, but if you click prepare to launch, it's not preparing you to launch. It's actually going to launch your project. So that's very important. Somebody on my timeline that happened to recently on their Kickstarter, he clicked that. He's like, well, it's out now because I already clicked the button, and once you click, that's it. So that's a very important tip. Take your time. Another important tip: take your time when writing. It may feel like that it's a very long time, because even with me, like I did 1, I did 2. I'm like, man, I need to put out 3, and you might feel like you need to put out the 3rd one really fast, but you gotta understand that you gotta take the time and tell a good story, because that's what's gonna follow you. I mean, you can rush the books out. I want to put out 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You feel like you're running out of time. You're running behind, but really, you definitely have enough time. Like Average Joe and Average Joe number 2, I'm probably gonna push those for a lot longer, because in reality, I think I had like 70 backers. I barely scratched the surface for the market of people that I think that I could reach. So I'm not gonna move on to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 just yet, but I'm gonna try to build the platform around what I do have, and once it gets to the next level, move to the next one. So that's yeah. So that's my advice. Sorry if that was too long winded.
Oh no, it was perfect. Let's see. Well, do you have any advice for writers? I know you said the Stephen King quote. I know a lot of people out there struggle to write. Do you have any advice for that?
Yeah, man. First, if you can, make writing. If writing is what you love to do, right? First of all, then make the time for your writing. Write every day. It doesn't matter if you write a stanza of a poem, you write a paragraph, you write a line. Write every day, because you can always pull from something, depending on the medium. Pull from something like, oh, I wrote this. You can put that there. You can mix and match. You can always have something to write. So you build up this library of content and things that you can use. And write from the heart. Write what makes you feel uncomfortable. I wrote a script. I wrote a script, a short film script, probably like two months ago, I think. I wrote the script, and before I turned it, before I let the person I was working with see it, I was thinking like, man, he's gonna think I'm a weirdo. He's gonna think I'm some freak pervert weirdo. But it's like, it came from a place that was uniquely my mind, and it was honest, and it was definitely revealing, and I wrote it from the heart. So definitely write from the heart, and try to write every day, man. Try to write every single day, because that's the only real way that you're going to improve your writing, to be honest with you. Read stuff, read everything first of all, but read stuff similar to what you like to write, because it will give you inspiration and you can pull from that. And yeah, that's my advice for writers. Just keep doing it. Don't stop.
All right, perfect. And I'm quite curious. Can you give us a little insight on the movie script?
Yes, a guy named Teron Spencer had hit me up on Instagram. He's an actor, and he's like, man, I love the Average Joe book. So we want let's try to see if we can come up with a short film for it. I'm like, yeah. So I took maybe 2 weeks, and I wrote the script up for him. Um, it's not something that we're gonna probably do and push right now, because I'm still trying to build the foundation for Average Joe. But it's
Right.
definitely something that we got like, all right, we're gonna put this on the side, and when it gets to that point, we're gonna have this fan film, and we're gonna put that together. Really fun. A little bit more raunchy take from the book. The book is kind of clean compared to what that script is, but you know.
All right. Um, let's let's see. And where do you have a Instagram or Facebook, or what's your platform of choice that you use?
I am on Instagram at VIV_PANEL. I'm on Facebook. Um, I think that's under the same at name. And but those are my two main hubs. Like you can either find me on Instagram or Facebook. And I'll give you links to those so you can throw those in.
Yeah, we'll put the links down in the description so people can follow you and see what's coming out next.
Absolutely.
All right. Um, let's see. I don't know. Do you have any questions, or is there anything you want to tell us? We still have
Um
like 5 minutes.
yeah, man. Questions no, but I just want to let y'all know that Average Joe is I think it's a different take than what I guess everything else you can find. I know everybody says that, right? It's different from what everybody else is doing, but
Right.
it's really I'm really taking a different take in the story and creating the story and creating the characters. I think people will really enjoy it. I think there's a big market for that book, and I think that it's really for people like if you're a fan of like The Boys, Watchmen, things of that nature, kind of like dark, somewhat gritty type books. It's like that, but it really has like a lighter side too, because it's he's kind of a fish out of water, being a normal guy fighting superheroes and supervillains and stuff like that. So it's a fun read. It's definitely something I took time in, like just to get the first. I had wrote the first 2 years ago, and then it took me another year to like rewrite it and get it to the way that I felt would be good for a reader and make it a good reader experience. And I recently turned it into a audio experience. So now you can like watch it and hear me narrate it.
Oh wow, where can they find that at?
I just started it actually yesterday, so it's on my YouTube channel. I'll give you the link to that. I'm making a playlist for it, so I'm gonna narrate all of the books, episodically. So I'm not gonna do the whole book, but I'll give you like a couple pages.
Right.
And I plan on doing that for the whole series. So from Average Joe 1 through 12 as they come out. So
Wow, that's pretty cool. That's definitely different. Is is the main character's name Max? You said.
yep, Max Buchanan.
Is Max ever gonna get any powers at the end of this, or?
Nah, he doesn't get any powers. So Max has a power, but his power is kind of just to be able to memorize stuff. So it's not gonna help him in any kind of like street stuff. But he has a job working for a public relations for heroes. So that's where he excels. He excels in his work because he can memorize everything. He has a photographic memory, but in the series, that photographic memory actually gives him an edge at points in certain heroes. Because if he by studying them, I'll give you that much. If he studies them, he learns them very well, and then he can find out ways to overcome their powers.
All right. Well, thank you for coming to talk with us. Is there anything that you want to tell them before we go?
Yeah, man. Definitely check out Average Joe, and if you like it, please let me know. And if you don't like it, please let me know, man, because I feel like the criticism will only make me better. For all the writers out there, keep writing. You're one page away from your best thing that you've ever written, so continue to write. Creators, keep creating. You're one creation away from the best thing you'll ever create. And yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you.
All right, bro.